Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a brand new skill that isn't just changing how we use technology, it's creating a whole new, super high-stakes job market.
So check out this number. What if I told you companies are paying salaries like this for a job title that, honestly, barely even existed a few years ago? And nope, this isn't for a CEO or a top surgeon. It's for a prompt engineer.
I mean, that's a huge question, right? In this explainer, we're going to break that down. First, we'll tackle what prompt engineering actually is. Then, we'll look at how to get really good at it. And finally, we'll explore some of the deeper kind of philosophical questions that come up when we learn to talk to machines.
All right, so what is this skill, really? It's so easy to just think of it as, asking a question. But it is so much more of a craft than a simple query.
At its core, it's really the art of structuring what you say to an AI to get the absolute best results, the most accurate, the most useful, and even the most creative answers. Think of it as starting a dialogue, not just barking a command.
And this is the mind we're actually talking to. Large language models, or LLMs. You've probably heard of things like GPT-4. They're trained on a truly mind-boggling amount of text from the internet. This is what lets them get context and generate language that sounds incredibly human, all by predicting the next most likely word in a sequence.
Now, this ability to chat with a machine didn't just appear out of nowhere. It actually started way back in the 60s with programs like Eliza, which used simple patterns to mimic a therapist. Fast forward through decades of development, and now we have the whole GPT series with each new version just exponentially more powerful. And that's why clear communication is now more critical than ever before.
This is such a great way to think about it. I mean, remember when we were all kind of bad at using Google? We type a whole sentence and get useless results. But now, we instinctively know the right keywords to find exactly what we need, right? Well, prompt engineering is that exact same evolution, but for a much, much more powerful tool.
So how do we actually get good at this new skill? What does a really effective prompt look like in practice? Let's check out a concrete example.
Okay, let's compare two ways of doing this. On the left, you've got a simple request, asking for a paragraph correction. It works, you get a functional answer. But look at the prompt on the right. Here, you're giving the AI a specific role, setting clear rules, and asking for an interaction. That completely transforms the entire experience. And this just shows the huge leap in value. A bad prompt is just a transaction. It's a one-and-done deal. But a good prompt, well, that creates a dynamic, amazing learning experience. You're not just getting an answer, you're co-creating a conversation with your own personalized expert.
So these are basically the keys to the kingdom. First, give the AI a persona. Tell it to act like an expert. Be really specific to avoid any confusion. Give it some examples of what you want. There's a technique for this called few-shot prompting, where you literally show it a sample of what you're looking for. And finally, tell it exactly what format you want. Bullet points, a poem, you're in the driver's seat.
Okay, so we're getting better at getting these accurate, perfectly formatted answers. But as we start to master this, it brings up a much deeper question. Just because an answer is correct, does that automatically make it meaningful?
And this is where things get really, really interesting. We're moving from the practical stuff into the philosophical. We're now looking beyond just getting the facts right and into the whole world of interpretation and meaning.
There's actually an academic field for this called hermeneutics. It's basically just the study of how we interpret things and find meaning in them. Anytime you read a book or look at a piece of art, you're trying to make sense of it.
So here's the strange paradox researchers are finding. The more we fine-tune our prompts for perfect factual accuracy, the more sterile and neutral the AI's response can become. It's like we're squeezing out the very ambiguity and nuance that actually sparks a deeper interpretation for us as humans.
And this happens because of something called the hermeneutic contract. As human readers, we are just wired to look for meaning and intention in any text we see. We automatically assume the author, even if it's a non-feeling AI, has created something meaningful for us. It's an unspoken agreement.
Which brings us to our final and maybe the most profound idea about this whole technology.
Some critics have started calling this Potemkin AI. The term comes from this legend about fake villages that were built just to impress an empress in the 18th century. It's a powerful metaphor, the idea that an AI can put on this stunning show of intelligence, but behind that facade, there might not be any real substance or deep understanding. And all this leads to a pretty powerful realization. These systems are basically mirrors.
They're not some alien intelligence. They're complex reflections of the vast ocean of human text they were trained on. That's our knowledge, our stories, our creativity, and yeah, all of our biases, too.
So when we engineer that perfect prompt, maybe we're not just manipulating a machine. We're holding up a mirror. The questions we ask, the answers we're looking for, and our very search for meaning in what it tells us, well, it might end up telling us a lot less about the future of artificial intelligence and a whole lot more about ourselves.